Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. The Sikh Spectrum today has come to Southall to interview Onkar Singh, who is a community worker on a voluntary basis. So let's start the interview by asking them what they've been doing, locally and how and where they came from and so on.
I have never cut my hair. I've never consumed alcohol. I have never touched tobacco. I have friends that do it, but that's their life. That's their choice. I have my path.
So, Onkar Singh, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Guru Pyari Sahib Sangat Ji, International Sikh Community, Sari Sangat, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Onkar, let's start by asking you to give us a short profile about yourself.
Okay, I was born in Kenya, Nairobi. The age of 6 or 7, parents decided to come to the UK. When we first came into this country, I think in Southall there was one Asian store, grocery store, and it was a new country, very different to follow. But at a young age, we were sent to a school called Little Ealing Junior School. The first day at school, we saw about 800 children there. Out of 800 children, we were the only two different things. I had the star on. From the age of 6, my mother tied the star on me. And she said, "This is your crown, never take it off." A week after that, winters were set in this country, and for the first time we had seen snow. And it was snowing so high that my little legs were coming in and out of the snow, we were falling all over the place. But on the 3rd week of that school, we started to receive some bullying, because we were different. We didn't know what bullying was, we didn't know what racism was. We were so young. I was beaten up. About 6 or 7 people, young kids, pushed me to the ground and they broke my arm. The arm was then plastered, went back to school. When the plaster came off, they pushed me down on the floor again and broke it, fractured it again. You have a picture there, a very young age when I was...
Well, I was going to ask you,
yeah.
This picture, what year, I mean, I see you sitting at the front here.
Yeah.
What year was this picture?
I think is when you asked the year, I think it was 7 years old.
Right.
Yeah, I was 7 years old, so it was some time ago, early 70s.
But in those days, surely, even if it was bullying, didn't you tell the teachers, didn't they look after the kids that were slightly different?
They most probably did in the best way they could. But because there probably wasn't group set up to protect people who just come into the country, new arrivals, we just got on with it. It was a tough life, but looking back on it, it was the best days of my life, because that took me into martial arts, and then my mum would give me, my dad would give me some money to go and join a club, and we trained from there. So from the age of about 8 years old, we started learning boxing, self-defense, looking after ourselves. From the age of 8 till now, no one's touched me since then.
How did your mother feel when you came back from school, where suddenly your arm is broken? Surely that must have been quite disheartening for her.
It was at that particular time, but my mother was a very strong-willed woman. She made the normal complaints to the school, but to me, she would strengthen me with Gurbani. She would sit me down and she would recite the Japji Sahib part, one podi, then I had to recite it back, and she taught me all the banis, all the Gurbanis. So she was making me very strong from the inside, to be ready for all these things that happen in life, for the ups and downs that we have. And we got on with it. We got on with it.
So you've never cut your hair then?
I have never cut my hair. I've never consumed alcohol. I have never touched tobacco. I have friends that do it, but that's their life. That's their choice. I have my path, and my path has been taught to me by my parents, and that path is Guru Granth Sahib is your Guru. You follow that path and he will look after you in life.
So let's talk about your, you took on karate at a very young age then.
Yeah.
And so did you go to the local, I mean they must have been all gore then, going into the karate classes.
Yeah. Well, at the age of about 10 and 11, we took Amrit. We were baptized here in the UK. And we started doing martial arts in line with the concept looking after our bodies and also going to Gurdwara every day. My parents would take me to Gurdwara and we'd do seva in the Gurdwara. We'd do Jodyan di seva. We would do Pandyan di seva. And also we listen to Sangat and do Kirtan. And then martial arts was built on top of that. The foundation of me being strong or learning to be strong was that first of all I had to be mentally strong. The mental strength came from Guru Granth Sahib. The mental strength came from doing Sangat, from doing Simran and doing Seva. The 3 S's which my mum taught me was Seva, Simran and Sangat. Never leave those 3. Right. And that's what made me strong. And the martial arts was built on top of that. And we trained very hard. I competed here in the UK. I've competed in Europe. I've been to Japan. And I've had about 300 tournaments. And I've drawn 2.
Really?
Yeah.
So your whole life, you're being a karate expert. I assume, you know, those that don't know much about karate, what belt do you hold? I mean, I know you hold a black belt, but there's something after the black belt. Yeah.
I don't class myself as an expert. I am still learning. A Gursikh is always learning. Sikh means to learn, so I'm learning. And Guru Granth Sahib, Guru Kalikidar Pasha, Guru Gobind Singh, he blesses these wishes upon us if we do something with our lives ourselves. Now, if he says, do with 10% of your time, you must donate 10% of your earnings. At the same time, you must donate 10% of your time for seva, for looking after your own body. If you don't look after your body, who else will look after your body? So the body's been given to us to look after. It's very precious. So at the moment, I'm a 4th Dan black belt, and I run clubs.
So how many kids have you taught over the years then, you think?
We keep a record, and we have our own newsletters as well. And to date, I've taught 8,346 students from 27 different nationalities.
Is that the coordinate work that you do on a voluntary basis, the karate, or is that something paid?
Karate is paid, but with the money, we also have rents to pay. We hire halls. We don't have our own hall. We don't have our own gym. I work with the local Ealing Council borough, and I work with many primary schools. So martial arts is built in with education because it promotes education. It promotes counselling. It promotes therapy. So there's many different fields.
You've appeared in numerous local newspapers over the years, I think, since 2000. I mean, I do want to touch on a few of them. One of them was this particular one about the karate, Southall Karate Club.
Yes.
And there's mainly Asian kids in that. Is that, so did you start this? Did you feel that the bullying that you had, you didn't want others to experience it? What was the reason to start the community side for the karate?
I live in Southall. I've been here since 1967. The day we came from Kenya was the day that Sri Guru Singh Sabha Gurdwara opened on Havelock Road, and Guru Maharaj, Guru Granth Sahib was entering the hall there, and we were there, and from these ideas generated that if I live in Southall, I need to look after my community, I need to work with my community, and then from there we would branch out, and that's why I focused on young people and their difficulties in life. And when I realized children don't only want to learn self-defense, they also want someone to talk to. They want mental therapy. They want support with psychology. They want help with difficulties at home. So then I set up a life center, life standing for loyalty, integrity, focus and effort. And in my house at the back I have an office where parents, children, who come to me, not necessarily come to me for learning martial arts or self-defense, but they come to me because they want to strengthen their minds, because they have difficulties. So I try to support people in that way as well.
There are some things that some things that we cannot actually avoid. And one of the things that I was reading in the paper was about this hashish smoking, pot smoking.
Yes.
If you go to Edgware Road, you'll see loads of people there in the cafes smoking that pot.
That's right.
So, reading the article, you managed to get that stopped in Southall.
Well, when I say the difficulty arose, a lot of children that was coming to me in my classes mentioned that there were problems. There were young people missing classes and meeting up in homes and houses, and they were smoking hashish, trying different flavors, and then going back to classes a bit groggy, don't know where they were. So I managed to tie up with education departments here, and we said that this has got to stop because it's affecting people's learning, it's affecting people's psychology, it's affecting their health. They got involved, and letters were written to all schools, and especially the high schools, and we managed to control it up to a point. Yeah, but there's no shops here as far as I know.
Really?
Yeah.
It'd be pretty hard to smoke pot, then go back to school and try to do any education, I think.
Well, people were doing it. Young people would try anything just for a kick, and they were doing it.
It's a fascinating article,
Yeah.
I think, from 2007 in the paper. It's
Yeah.
quite amazing that you've appeared in so many articles locally. But
Yeah.
I want to touch on one other one, which is actually more recent, which is to do with your MBE.
Right.
When you got your MBE, it must have been, quite sort of, you must have felt quite pleased and happy. How did someone volunteer you, or how does that come about to get an MBE?
Okay, I was most probably in life. I don't help anybody. I take it that je de vadiyai, ta teri vadiyai. This is Guru's bakshish. If he blesses, then I can support people and help people. Without his help, I cannot do anything. That's the way I look upon life. Now, your question was that when we're going to receive the MBE, I received a letter from 10 Downing Street, and to say that you've been nominated to receive an honour from Her Majesty the Queen. And then we wait to see if our name appears on the computer, and my name was there. I was ecstatic that day. But when that name came, I realized that I was going to Buckingham Palace. Then an invitation came, and I started thinking in my mind, as a Gursikh, would I have to bow to the Queen? Because I've already bowed to Guru Gobind Singh. I've already given my head to the Panj Pyare. So why should I bow to the Queen? In my mind, I wasn't happy. So I asked my mum. My mother was very wise. She's been well known by the international community for her seva and simran. And she says to me, go to the Gurdwara and ask the Gyani there and see what he says. Should you bow to the Queen or you shouldn't? So I went to the Gyani in the local Gurdwara at Park Avenue and asked and said to him, should I bow to the Queen? I'm going to be receiving this medal. And he said, treat her like your mother. So by bowing your head to the Queen, it would be okay. I wasn't happy with his answer, because yes, he was right that we see God in everybody, but I wasn't happy. So I came back home and I mentioned it to my mum, and my mum said, do what's right. Do what's right in your heart. Follow your heart. So on the day, I knew that the Queen, watching on YouTube other people receiving medals, that when the Queen places the medal on the jacket, she places it on this side. And then I thought to my mind, well, my Guru's khanda is very powerful and spiritual. I need to put that on my jacket too. So I placed a khanda on my jacket before I went to Buckingham Palace. So when she were to place her medal, it will be a little bit lower than the khanda. So that was my thinking. Then I thought, Wazir Khan ordered the Sahibzade, Baba Zorawar Singh, Baba Fateh Singh, and he said that you must bow to me. I am the ruler. I have killed your father, Guru Gobind Singh. And Sahibzade said, no, we don't bow to nobody. We bow to our Guru. Our father is alive. So Wazir Khan built a big door. Within that door, he built a a smaller door. Now everybody, every Gursikh knows this Sakhi, but me personally, I don't remove it from my mind, never. That's how I generate my life, that's how I use my martial arts. Now when the Sahibzade put their foot through the front door, through the little door, he got more annoyed. Now I'm thinking, if Baba Zorawar Singh and Baba Fateh Singh did not bow their heads to this king, false king, or proclaimed himself as king, then why should I bow to the Queen?
But I assume you didn't bow to her, did you? I mean,
I didn't. If you watch the YouTube,
yes,
I said Fateh.
Right, and we will actually be showing the Sangha that footage, but I do want to show them the medal itself, which is, you know, the MBE. I mean, it does look like a cross, but that doesn't matter. We do live in the UK. I mean, we should be proud as a community of what you've achieved.
I respect all faiths because God is in everybody. But to me, mainu meri Sikhi pyari hai. So when I went there, I held both my hands together and I said, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa.
I actually saw you doing that. I didn't realise you had said Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa.
Yeah, I said it. And they said to me that you can speak to the Queen for you know, a couple of seconds or something. Right. I thought, no, I've come to the Queen's house. I'm going to talk to her. So I discussed her. I said, Mom, I've come to your house. Would you like to come to my house? And she said, maybe someday. and I thought that was beautiful. And I took her a box of royal sweets.
Well, I wanted to talk about that because you received a letter from Buckingham Palace thanking you for the matiai you took on the day. Was that unusual?
I'm thinking that if I'm going to meet royalty, how can I go empty-handed? I need to go take something. If I was going to meet Guru Gobind Singh, I wouldn't go empty-handed. Right. So I went to meet her and I took a box of royal sweets and the security guards take it from you, and then they present it to her later on. And she, no doubt, I'm sure she must have ate some, and then she wrote me this beautiful letter thanking me for the material.
You know, it mentions that it's traditional Indian sweets.
Yeah.
So you kept that custom about going to meet someone without going empty-handed.
Beautiful.
Well, I also want to talk about your healthy eating. That was in the newspaper as well. Yeah. That was something else that you've been trying to promote. Yeah. What was that in aid of? Did something happen where you felt, we should do something about healthy eating?
Obesity is very high in the UK. Blood pressure, diabetes, and I'm looking at a lot of young people. People are getting these diseases at a very young age, simply because we are what we eat, and they do not watch what they put into their mouths. So a lot of children in the local community started coming to my walkathons. They started doing physical exercises. I joined PTAs. I'm also a school governor. So we got involved with promoting healthy living lifestyles and bringing in healthy eating, tying up with NHS and other different organizations. And we did a lot of work on that. Yeah.
What about healthy eating in gurdwaras? What do you think about that?
I think gurdwaras, all gurdwaras in the UK, because we live in this country, should have like Ofsted monitor schools, Ofsted monitor education levels and how students' well-being is looked after. I think there needs to be a person with the same sort of authority that looks after all the gurdwaras in the UK. But he particularly just goes in and looks at the langar, he looks at the hygiene, he looks at whether the seva has been done properly, he looks at whether the Panj Pyare know the Panj Baniya, know the Simran, and are they following the code of conduct of Takht Sri Akal Sahib. I think there needs to be one person who does that, and that would be fantastic. If all Gurdwara chipped in a little bit, that would pay his salary, and I think that would be great for us to go forward. No,
that idea, you mean that we employ someone, or
yes.
You mean like Ofsted, you're saying?
Yes.
Ah, that's a different concept. That's not one that I'm not sure that the Sikh community is ready for such a thing, are they?
Well, I think at the end of the day, if you have someone who looks after the health and safety, if the Gurdwaras are making langar, is the loon or the mircha, is there right amount that keeps everybody healthy? If the sangat is healthy, then their praying will be good as well. So the body is going to be doing everything. The body is a temple. So if we look after our temple, then Guru Maharaj will be happy, then we'll be able to pray as well. So if the position is voluntary and someone's willing to spend, to visit all 300 Gurdwara, then that's fine. But I'm just thinking, if there's a person that we pay a salary to, and he's willing to go and project and highlight all the good work that the Sikhi is doing, I think it would take us forward.
That's quite a good idea. We should actually try to see how we can push that.
Yeah.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, before we started the interview, one of the things that that you'd mentioned to me was about your surname.
Yeah.
And something came to me while I was thinking about the interview.
Yeah.
And it was a line actually, ke jaisi mein aave qasam ki bani, tasra kari gyan ve lalo. Because you mentioned to me that you are from the Lalo family.
Hanji.
How do you know that you're from the Lalo family then?
I listened to Katha one day, and the Kathakari mentioned, this many years ago when I was a bit younger, and my mother and father told me as well, that Pai Lalo was a Katauda. Katiya Oda is the actual way to say it. Not being from Punjab, my Punjabi is not heavily spoken, but Katiya Ode. And as we came here, it turned into Gator. But Pai Lalo was a Katauda. So I'm very privileged to know that on the Pehli Udasi, Tan Guru Nanak Dev Ji visited Pai Lalo. So I'm feeling that if Pai Lalo was a great person, done great things, done bhajan with Guru Nanak Dev Ji, that I too should keep my role model status high as well in life. So when people look at me and they say, there goes a Singh, there goes the guy of Guru Nanak, he's doing something positive, maybe I should follow him. So I feel the whole point of this program that we're making today is not for people to look at me and say, wow, look at Mr. Singh's achievements. This is for you to look at me and say, do something with your own lives. Go out there with your own lives and do something. Become somebody, be somebody, and represent Guru Gobind Singh. Is there a large Katora surname in the UK then? Have you traced other people? I mean, if you said to me you're not from Punjab. Yeah. Is there a clan that are sare Katore wale or not? I don't think so. I think when people came over here, the actual spelling of Katiya Oda is quite long-winded, so people changed it and wrote it down as they thought it sounded. So people have changed it, Gatori, Gatora, Ora, whatever. But I don't think there's a place where we meet. No, there must be many others. No, I'll tell you why I said that to you was somebody rang the Sikh channel once, and when I was talking to them, mera surname Palle. Okay. Now, just like when you said to me about Pai Lalo, and I remembered, Palle is Guru Amardas Ji's surname. Palle Amardas Guru Tere. Now that line came to my mind when he said, Mera naam, mera goth Palle. Now not that I'm saying about promoting goths, but it's quite interesting to see where people have come from. Yes. And if you've got a nice history like you have about Pai Lalo, I think that, as a group, it would be quite nice to sort of promote those ideas, rather than just saying, oh, I don't want to use my third name. Fine, don't use it, but we can't really forget where we're from. Ji. Okay, what about, we've only got now the last couple of minutes left. Is there anything that you'd like to share with the Sikh channel Sangat? I would like to share that Gurdev Mata, Gurdev Pita. If you respect your parents, if you look after their wishes, if you look after their well-being in old age, and it becomes your time to do seva, don't back away. Do not back away, because if you back away and you do not listen to them and you do not respect your parents, then why are you bound to Guru Granth Sahib? Because Guru Granth Sahib says Gurdev Mata, Gurdev Pita. You have to respect your parents. You have to respect their wishes. In our martial arts, we have 4 sayings, which are sayings from Guru Nanak Dev Ji. None of these sayings are me. I have nothing. Sensei, I will pray hard. Sensei, I will be honest. Sensei, I will work hard and share with others. Sensei, I respect my parents. So if you follow these 4 sayings, these are sayings of Dhan Guru Nanak Dev Ji, who teaches us these things. If we follow that in our lives will be full of so much love and pyar. We need more pyar. We need more love in Sikhi. We don't judge other people. When you work in your towns, look after your towns. Look after the places where you live before you start branching out what happens around the UK or internationally. I think honesty. Coming back to parents, if your parents wish to do something, Don't force their hand. Listen to what they have to say. Because when you respect them, Kalgidhar Pasha is listening to what you're saying. He's listening to every breath. He's listening to every word you speak. Why? Hum aadmi hain, ekdami. Ekdam de asi hage hain. Jo sa andar nu gaya, bahar nahi aaya, you are no more. Sometimes in meditation, when we do meditation in my clubs, because I cater for all religions, I cater for Muslims, and if I say to Muslims, do your prayer. Do your prayer. Respect Allah, like He's taught you in the Quran. To the Hindus, I say, do your Gita prayer. Do it as it says in Gita. And Gursikhan de bache, they do Pehli Pauri part, second Pauri part. So when they do their white belt, which is the first grade, they have to recite to me the first Pauri. When they go for the second belt, I want to know the second Pauri. And when they want the black belt from me, they have to learn the whole Japji Sahib part. Otherwise, I don't give it.
So you relate learning about Gurumukhi with the part and the karate and so on.
And martial arts, yes. Because Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, respect all faiths, work with all faiths. Yes. So I try to do that in my community, and I try to do that best I can.
Well, with that, I want to thank Onkar Singh for sharing his life and the work that they're doing here as the coordinator for the voluntary services. And for all the youngsters, it's a very valid point that they've made about Gurudev Mata, and it's true. Yes. But and that's why they have so much, I think, respect for their mum. But I think it's worthwhile mentioning that you know, it's I think what you've shared with us is great. Yeah. I do want to say one thing. How do people contact your organization if they're in need of help?
Okay, we've always done advertising by word of mouth. Okay. Because when parents bring their children, if the parents are happy with our quality of services, they pass the word around. Up to date, we've never advertised in any national press or local press. But we train on Saturdays at Dormanswell's Leisure Centre, which is in Southall, and we train from 9 to 11 in the morning. And the other clubs that we do are straight after school clubs, which operate in the local area. But I would just like to say, very quickly, I know nothing. Everything I have, everything I've learned is from my mother. Because everything my mother spoke was written in Guru Granth Sahib. My mother knew Panj Baniya Kant. My mother knew any part of Shabad of any Guru Granth Sahib. If you just said the first few lines, she will tell you the whole Shabad. So if I was reborn again, I would like to come as a mother like this, who knew the Panj Baniya.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And with that, we should close our Sikh Spectrum.
Thank you very much. Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.